Mario is a character that needs zero introduction. We all know this goofy red plumber. He's been starring in his own game since 1985 and has had a long journey throughout history. This dude has done everything. He's gone into the third dimension, gone go-karting with his friends, and even taught you how to type on the computer. But what has he not done? A movie. A good one anyway. Mario is an icon. This dude has surpassed being a video game character. There are literal theme parks being made about him. But he hasn't had love on the big screen until literally just now. The movie came out and it was pretty phenomenal. But how did Mario get this opportunity? How did we get the Super Mario Bros. Movie? Let me tell you how. First, let's talk about why it's taken this long for a Mario movie to be made. I mean, the first Mario game didn't come out a couple years ago, it's been quite a while. This is the reason we haven't gotten a movie, the original 1993 Mario movie. If you don't know about this movie, it's probably for the best. I mean, this is how fucking Yoshi looked. This movie was commercially ass. It made Nintendo pretty much drop the idea of a Mario movie for a while. They didn't want anyone else to mess up the Mario brand. That is, until the Nintendo Wii came out. The Nintendo Wii had a thing called the Virtual Console, which was pretty much just a way to play older Nintendo games on the newest Nintendo console. The creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, said that this is around the time that he started thinking about a real Mario movie, one with heavy guidance from Nintendo themselves, so they knew the product would turn out perfect. Which is kinda insane because the Virtual Console came out in 2006 and it's 2023. It really shows that the idea for a Mario movie has been around forever. Miyamoto himself even said that, "I've been considering an animated film for many years now. There has long been talk that Nintendo could make a movie because making a game is like making a movie, but they're completely different to me." So Miyamoto would try to find someone trustworthy to lead a possible Mario movie's production. And this is kind of where nothing happens for a while. It was just kind of lingering in Miyamoto's head. But on November 24th, 2014, the film studio, Sony Pictures, got hacked, like, badly. We're talking about personal information of employees, emails, and scripts for future movies. It was devastating for Sony Pictures, and respectfully so. It was an awful situation. I'm bringing it up for a reason though. This hack would be the public's first hint that a Mario movie was coming. In some of the emails that were leaked, it showed conversations between employees on how they've been trying to secure rights for a Mario movie for years. Producer Avi Arad visited Nintendo in Tokyo in both February and July of 2014 to secure some kind of deal for a Mario movie. And in one of the emails leaked, he stated that he, quote, closed the deal with Nintendo. Whatever the hell that means. It wasn't elaborated on past that. But there are some things that were elaborated on, like how this Mario movie was apparently going to have major help from the director of Hotel Transylvania, which is, cool I guess. But this next part is the one that stood out to me the most. This girl Michelle Raimo Koye was saying some M. Bison ass shit in her emails. She could apparently think of 3 to 4 Mario movies right out the gate, and Michelle had hope in building a Mario empire. Michelle was the producer of the Emoji Movie, but this Sony Pictures Mario movie was never fully realized. This project must have been cancelled sometime during production. So literally nothing came out of this situation. But it kinda makes you wonder, like, we only know about this situation because the Sony Pictures emails were leaked. So it's completely possible that there were more movies with the Mario IP planned by different companies, but we would never know because that stuff is confidential information. But a movie made about Mario was inevitable, so which company would end up making this movie, and how did they get the job? Well, it actually starts around 2016, where the Mario movie we know was first being discussed. When Miyamoto was working with different people to make Super Nintendo World at Universal, Miyamoto would meet Chris Meledandri, who's the founder of Illumination's animation division. When Miyamoto was talking to Chris, he found Chris's creative process to be similar to his own process. With that, Miyamoto knew that Chris Meledandri was the person he was looking for. Chris Meledandri would be the perfect person to lead a Mario movie. The public would actually only hear about this a year later in 2017. Reports started coming out about how Nintendo was collaborating with both Universal and Illumination to make a Mario movie. But according to the Nintendo president at the time, Tatsumi Kimishima, the deal to make this movie hasn't even been finalized yet. But when the deal is finalized, he promised they would make an announcement about what's going to happen with this situation. Kimishima also said that if this deal was successful, the movie could release sometime in 2020. So, a few months would pass and the result of the deal would finally be announced. January 2019. it was finally confirmed a Mario movie was being worked on, with Miyamoto himself as one of the producers. It was going to be different from that last shitty Mario movie. This one is going to be animated by Illumination. And for all that legal bullshit, Nintendo would still own the rights for the movie, but both Nintendo and Illumination would fund the film. And the film had a budget of $100 million, which is kind of insane. So now we got the animators and the producers, but who was directing the movie? The same directors from the Teen Titans Go movie. That's who they picked. And some people may worry about that, you know. Teen Titans Go is a decisive subject, but the directors knew that the people who wanted to watch a Mario movie didn't want it to be anything like Teen Titans Go, so they had that in mind. And they wanted their work on this movie to be super faithful to the source material, as well as being a more cinematic and emotional movie. And of course, Nintendo would be breathing down their necks, making sure they don't make this movie shit, you know. The directors wanted this movie to serve as kind of an origin story for Mario and Luigi, having them be plumbers living in Brooklyn, and having Mario have to learn about the Mushroom Kingdom with the Watcher. And for scenes like this obstacle course scene, it was meant to represent you as the player taking multiple attempts playing the levels in the game. Like, even after you would die, you would still try to continue the level and beat it. That was the kind of idea they were going for. And finally, they wanted to change up the main cast's roles a bit, specifically Peach, Luigi, and Bowser. Peach and Luigi's roles were pretty much swapped in the movie. Instead of Luigi adventuring with Mario to save Peach like in the games, Peach would adventure with Mario to save Luigi. This was done because they thought the cast keeping their original roles was too straightforward. They wanted to focus on Peach's role as a princess more as well, being the person who cared and wanted to protect all the Toads, and they wanted to show how much strength it would take to need to protect all these Toads. They drew a lot of inspiration from Super Mario 3D World to portray the Peach they wanted. And for Bowser, they wanted to make him scary like he's usually portrayed as in the main games, but also have a kind of goofy and vulnerable side, to add a layer of humor to the beast rather than just having him be the big scary dude. The movie ended up having a lot of life with these changes. I think the changes worked out really well personally, especially with Bowser's goofy ass, but the role changes wouldn't have worked if the movie didn't visually represent it. Like if Bowser was still menacing while trying to crack jokes, it probably wouldn't work. So Illumination Studios Paris had a lot to live up to in making this movie work on the big screen. They started production in September 2020, and they wouldn't finish animation until October 2022, which was way later than the original 2020 estimate. Illumination wanted to really make something big with this movie, so they needed the time. They updated their lighting and rendering systems for the film, and compared to last movies, Illumination's technology had now pushed the limits of the entire studio. They were not messing around with the Mario Brothers. They wanted the look of the movie to have a combination of both realism and stylized animation. Horvath said that, "There are moments of cartoony fun, but it's probably more of an action movie. We wanted it to feel like a big adventure film, and that there are stakes, and maybe you believe that these characters can die. So they're not super squashy and super stretchy." I think the style turned out really nice, and really worked well for the movie. Everyone's designs were also touched up just a little bit too. Nothing too crazy, but there were definitely edits made to them. But the thing most of us probably noticed the most was the DK redesign. Which, I mean, is honestly really bold that they would even touch on Donkey Kong's design at this level at all. He's had the same look since the original DKC. I honestly don't dislike it, but I do prefer my goat from Country. It's a mixture of both his original arcade design and the Country one, which, honestly, I do respect the idea. Even with my DK bias though, I think the most interesting thing design-wise in this movie was Mario's family. Apparently for Mario's family in the movie, their designs were based off of actual sketches of Mario's family that Nintendo made like forever ago. Nintendo pulled the sketches out of the deep dark Nintendo vault and showed it to Illumination. So with his family, we actually got to see what Mario's official relatives looked like. Mostly anyway. They were apparently slightly touched up, but they apparently looked pretty identical to the sketches Nintendo gave them. That is just so insanely cool. We've never seen Mario's relatives officially until now, or even knew if they existed, but this is it dude, we know how they look now. I highly doubt Nintendo will show the original sketches they made for them, but who knows. Until then though, the relatives in this movie are what Mario's relatives would have looked like in the games. For the music that would be made for the movie, it was handled by Brian Tyler in collaboration with Koji Kondo, who's been making music for Mario forever now. They wanted a very big and orchestral soundtrack, and they nailed it. There's actually some songs that didn't even make it into the final movie, and those songs are amazing too. Like there was this banger ass song called Drivin' Me Bananas that just went completely unused, and as a man who graduated from Kong College, this hurts me on a personal level. This was a big fuck you to me. The song is insane, like you have to listen to it for yourself, and they replaced it with fucking Take On Me in the movie. At least the DK rap would make it into the movie, and that was a very pleasant surprise. But they also just forgot to credit Grant Kirkhope, the creator of the song, in the credits, and, that just blows. Finally, of course, there was the Peaches song, done by Jack Black Bowser himself, where he sings his undying love for Princess Peach. And a fun fact about this song, in the original draft of the movie script, apparently this song wasn't going to be in the movie at all. They only decided to do it because Jack Black asked himself if Bowser could sing some kind of love song to Princess Peach in the movie. And they just said, sure, and let him do it. They made a song and it was put into the movie, and Bowser would actually sing a love song to Peach. And this was only possible thanks to Jack Black. The song is literally top 5 on the iTunes charts right now, so they cooked with this one. But on the topic of Jack Black, the casting of this movie has been memed onto shit since before this movie even came out. A lot of people thought it was strange that Mario wasn't played by Charles Martinet, Mario's voice actor in literally everything. They got Chris Pratt instead. The reasoning for casting Chris Pratt was because, quote, "For us, it made total sense. He's really good at playing a blue-collar hero with a ton of heart. For the way that Mario is characterized in our film, he's perfect for it." But a lot of people would criticize the Chris Pratt voice, saying how it sounded not even remotely Italian or even remotely close to Mario. But apparently Mario wasn't always going to sound like how the final voice sounds. One of Pratt's first attempts at a Mario voice got rejected by the film's directors because they thought it sounded too similar to Tony Soprano's voice from The Sopranos.
The Polish, they made me take off my shoes.
They didn't like the similarity in the voices, so they told him to try another voice. Chris Pratt would go through many trials in different voices to find out what worked for the movie until we got the final voice. But this isn't even the only time during the movie's development where someone would get rejected for doing an Italian voice for Mario. Sebastian Maniscalco, the person who ended up voicing Spike in the final movie, originally auditioned for the role of Mario, and tried to do an Italian voice himself, and he didn't get the job because of it. The movie's directors just really didn't want Mario to sound Italian, I guess. For Luigi, the situation was pretty similar. The voice of Luigi, Charlie Day, originally voiced Luigi with a New York accent during early stages of production. But after a while, it was scrapped when the directors thought it sounded too similar to Goodfellas. Charlie Day responded to this saying, "I think you're wrong, but fine." Then we got Luigi. But with my Donkey Kong-ass bias, I think Seth Rogen's DK voice story is by far the most interesting. Mainly because he was kind of a douchebag about the voice. When Kotaku asked Seth Rogen why he just uses his normal voice to portray Donkey Kong, Seth Rogen said that he told the directors, "If you want me to be in this movie, then it's going to sound like me, and that's it." That was the beginning and end of that conversation. I do not care, bro. That is probably the most baller-ass thing to tell the directors of the fucking Mario movie. He did not care if he lost the role. And I'm gonna be honest, I can do nothing but respect that. That is so hard. That's pretty much all of the actual development of the movie, though. They would then go on to show the movie off in several Nintendo Directs and commercials. It even got a commercial for the Super Bowl where they showed a part of the movie that referenced the fucking Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which is an insane deep cut, but that is so awesome, dude. And post-production of the movie would finish in March 2023. The date of this movie was moved from Friday, April 7th to Wednesday, April 5th, and I'm honestly still not sure why, but it's done. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was finally complete. And when it released, it got really shitty reviews. By the critics anyway, but who cares because the audience score was insanely high. The fans loved this movie, which is the audience the movie wanted to please anyway. So the movie 100% succeeded. It has now broken the record for the largest ever opening weekend of any animated movie ever, so we can maybe see some Zelda or Kirby in the future. This movie marks a bright future for video game movies. In the past, video game movies have kind of had a reputation for being bad, because they're video game movies. But in recent years, video game movies have just been getting better and better. We are slowly getting rid of that bad reputation. Whatever series Nintendo picks next to make a movie about, it will be great. And the Mario movie was the film to start this future for Nintendo. The Mario movie took a risk, but it was a risk that paid off. Goated ass movie. Thank you for watching.